Welcome back. We're gonna go into part 2. I need to see how much subscribers I have now, because YouTube told me if I get at least 50 for subscribers, I'll be able to go live. I need to check when I'm through. Guys, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. I should need to reach at 50. And thanks for those who have subscribed already and you're still here with me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alright, so we're going into part 2 now. He grouched off, leaving me to run out to the back garden and fetch the twins, who immediately began to wail. "One bath a day is enough. One bath a day is enough," screamed Carrie. "We're already clean. Stop, stop. We don't like soap. We don't like hair washings. Don't you do that to us again, Kathy, or we'll tell Mommy." "Ha," I said. "Who do you think sent me out here to clean up two filthy little monsters?" "Good golly, how can the two of you get so dirty so quickly?" As soon as their naked skins hit the warm water and the little yellow rubber ducks and rubber boats began to float, and they could splash all over me, they were content enough to bathe, shampooed and dressed in their very best clothes, for, after all, they were going to a party, and, after all, this was Friday, and Daddy was coming home. First, I dressed Corey in a pretty little white suit with short pants. Strangely enough, he was more apt to keep himself clean than his twin. Try as I would, I couldn't tame down that stubborn cowlick of his. It curled over to the right like a cute pig's tail, and, would you believe it, Carrie Let me read this back over. Try as I would, I couldn't tame down that stubborn cowlick of his. It curled over to the right, like a cute pig's tail. And, would you believe it, Carrie wanted her hair to do the same thing. So the twins are male and female. When I had them both dressed and looking like dolls come alive, I turned the twins over to Christopher with stern warnings to keep an ever-observant eye on them. Now it was my turn to get dressed up. The twins wailed and complained while I hurriedly took a bath and washed my hair and rolled it up on fat curlers. I peeked around the bathroom door to see Christopher trying his best to entertain them by reading to them from Mother Goose. "Hey," said Christopher, when I came out wearing my pink dress with the fluted ruffles. "You don't look half bad." "Half bad? Is that the best you can manage to say?" Best I can go for a sister." He glanced at his watch, slammed the picture book down, seized the twins by their dimpled hands, and cried out, "Daddy will be here any minute. Hurry, hurry, Kathy." 5 o'clock came and went, and though we waited and waited and waited, we didn't see our father's green Cadillac turn into our curving driveway. The invited guests sat around and tried to keep up a cheerful conversation. As Mama got up and began to pace around nervously, usually Daddy flung open the door at 4 and sometimes even sooner. 7 o'clock and still we were waiting. The wonderful meal Mommy had spent so much time preparing was drying out from being too long in the warming oven. 7 was the time we usually put the twins to bed, and they were growing hungry, sleepy, and cross, demanding every second. When is Daddy coming? Their white clothes didn't look so virgin now. Carrie's smoothly waved hair began to curl up and look windblown. Corey's nose began to run, and repeatedly he wiped it on the back of his hand until I hurried over with a Kleenex to clean off his upper lip. Well, Corinne, joked Jim Johnston, I guess Chris has found himself another super broad. His wife threw him an angry look for saying something so tasteless. My stomach was growling, and I was beginning to feel as worried as Mummy looked. She kept pacing back and forth, going to the wide pictured window and staring out. Oh, I cried, having caught sight of a car turning into our tree-lined driveway. Maybe that's Daddy coming now. But the car that drew up to a stop before our front door was white, not green, and on the top was one of those spinning red lights. An emblem on the side of that white car read State Police. Oh my goodness. Let's see what happened here. Mummy smothered a cry when 2 policemen dressed in blue uniforms approached our front door and rang our doorbell. Mummy seemed frozen. Her hand hovered near her throat. Her heart came up and darkened her eyes. Something wild and frightening in my heart. Something wild and frightening began in my heart just from watching her reactions. It was Jim Johnston who answered the door and allowed the 2 state troopers to enter. Glancing about uneasily, seeing, I'm sure, that this was an assembly gathered together for a birthday party. All they had to do was glance into the dining room and see the festive table, the balloons suspended from the chandelier, and the gifts on the buffet. Mrs. Christopher Garland Dollinger, is that you? Inquired the older police officer to my mother, as he looked from woman to woman. Our mother nodded slightly, stiffly. I drew nearer, as did Christopher. The twins were on the floor playing with tiny cars, and they showed little interest in the unexpected arrival of the police officers. The kindly looking uniformed man with the deep red face stepped closer to Mummy. Mrs. Dollinger, he began in a flat voice that sent immediate panic into my heart. We're terribly sorry, but there's been an accident on the Greenfield Highway. Breathed Mummy, reaching to draw both Christopher and me against her sides. I could feel her quivering all over, just as I was. My eyes were magnetized by those brass buttons. I couldn't see anything else. Your husband was involved, Mrs. Dollinger. A long sigh escaped from Mummy's choked throat. She swayed and would have fallen if Chris and I hadn't been there to support her. We've already questioned motorists who witnessed the accident, and it wasn't your husband's fault, Mrs. Dollinger. That voice continued on and on without emotion. According to the accounts which we've recorded, there was a motorist driving a blue Ford, weaving in and out of the left-hand lane, apparently drunk, and he crashed head-on into your husband's car. But it seems your husband must have seen the accident coming, for he swerved to avoid a head-on collision. But a piece of machinery had fallen from another car or truck, and this kept him from completing his correct defensive driving maneuver, which would have saved his life. But as it was, your husband's your husband's much heavier car turned over several times, and still he might have survived. But an oncoming truck, unable to stop, crashed into his car, and again the Cadillac spun over, and then it caught on fire. My goodness, people, this is terrible. It caught on fire. Never had a room full of people still so quickly. Even the young twins looked up from their innocent play and stared at the two troopers. Whoa, this is so sad. Wow. But we've stopped there for today. When I'm back on again, we will go to part 3. So folks, thank you as usual for listening. Thank you for joining in, and please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about it. Persons who like reading, like listening to someone read, enjoy hearing stories. Please tell your friends about it. Alright, so thank you. So if you want to find me on YouTube, it's Karen Vibes, so it's Karen, it's Vibes, with an exclamation sign. You can find me on YouTube, and it's reading for the mature audience. So once you type in Karen Vibes, you see that little pink rose, you will find me. So folks, thank you very much. Do enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll be back on. So you folks will be left in suspense. Those who haven't read the book before, and if you have read the book, just pretend like you haven't read it and you're hearing the story for the first time. A lot of times when I read books all 5-10 times, when I read it over again, I pretend like it's the first time reading it. I don't know what's gonna happen. So let's pretend, if you have read it before, that you don't know what the story is about. So you'll be left in suspense until we come back with part 3. So have yourselves a wonderful evening, and I will see you again. Bye.